This week's slew of disappointing tech earnings are causing shares from Meta to Microsoft to plunge. And it also raises all sorts of questions for the next generation of startups. Firstly, how do other nations create an environment that produces big tech giants the way America has, but also shorter term provide more funding for firms that typically rely on US investors for future growth? The Netherlands is one of Europe's biggest technology hubs, with 2.6 times as many startups per million residents compared to the European average. Yet, US venture capital firms account for 70% of total investment in those Dutch firms, with even more American activity expected next year. TechLeap is a kind of tech ecosystem greenhouse nurturing the best and the brightest Dutch tech companies, matching them to venture capital and helping promote innovation. The government-backed organisation currently helps 23 emerging tech firms in sectors including sustainability, cybersecurity, e-commerce and marketing. And His Royal Highness Prince Constantijn van Oranje is TechLeap's special envoy. He says he's on a mission to turn the Netherlands into a tech unicorn nation, but still says there's a fair way to go. And His Royal Highness joins us now. Prince Constantijn, fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. There's great news and there's slightly concerning news, I think, in that. Just explain where the Netherlands is today and what your vision is.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I think I'll record that. It's, I think, the best summary. But thanks.
We try.
Now, where the Netherlands is right now, I think where we are in Europe, we're playing a bit of catch up with the kind of the big tech nations like the US, especially in the total amount of value of venture capital available. And I think we're seeing quite a notable shift to what we call frontier tech or new, deep tech. So technologies that would really make an impact, and how we develop businesses around that to support the energy transition, food transition, and many other transitions that we're currently facing.
I mean, there are so many questions. Firstly, you've identified what helps take a startup to a scale up. It's levels of different funding. What is astonishing to me, actually, for Europe, one, that Europe's never really managed to create the scale of the big tech giants that we've seen in the United States, but also that there's still too much reliance on US money in order to grow them. There's two big questions there, but your experience and understanding of how we begin, at least, to tackle some of those challenges.
Yeah, I think it's actually one challenge. It's capital. All depends about how big is your first round and how will subsequent rounds be. And of course, if there are no resident funds that can actually supply that kind of capital, you have to look abroad. So far, we actually think it's actually a good deal getting American funds to invest in European companies, because they bring a lot of experience in scaling companies. Most of our companies will eventually have to go to the US to set up shop there, so better start early, get investors on board that can actually support you in that. And so I think we are indeed playing catch up. But I see many very, very talented companies and entrepreneurs in Europe, and it's good that the capital that can go anywhere actually chooses to invest in Europe and grow these companies. So I'm actually quite optimistic. I do think that our institutional investors, like pension funds, are still far too hesitant to enter the venture capital asset class. So that's something that we are concerned about, because once the Dutch pension funds have over $1 trillion in under management. If they would only do say 0.1% in venture capital, we really would explode the venture capital sector in the Netherlands.
And that's such a huge point. And then they benefit from the growth of these companies too, which is arguably a far better return at times, assuming that they do make it to a full company status or a scale-up status, compared with traditional investing like bonds or equities. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's obviously risky, but I think what we also see that our pension funds are really concerned with impact, especially on climate, and these companies, these startup and scale-ups are actually the ones that are really driving forward these transitions. So if you are honest about your impact ambitions, then venture capital and startups should be part of your portfolio.
Yes, even if it's a small part, particularly when with the firms that you're looking at and helping with Tech Leap, it's sustainability, big data, help, cybersecurity. I mean, these are crucial elements to successfully functioning societies and economies. So worthwhile investment and potentially lucrative too. What more is needed? And what do these firms tell you, even in the short term, whether it's talent, whether it's government support, whether it's tax incentives? There's plenty of roles that need to be played here. In the first place, what's needed? If we talk about government, let's say, what more can government do?
Well, governments can, I think they can do everything to create a climate in which these companies can thrive. So, for instance, fiscal stimulus for early stage investment, so that there will be more capital flowing into the very early stages of these companies, so that they have a better start of their ventures life. Another really important element is share options, to make sure that these companies can hire the best talent nationally and internationally and retain them, and make sure that some of the capital, if there's an exit, will actually be retained by these employees that will then be the next generation of founders or next generation of angel investors, so that you really start growing that ecosystem. I think they're called mafias. So you had obviously the PayPal mafia. We also see Uber producing a lot of new angel investors and founders. We've seen it also at Spotify in Sweden. We're seeing it a bit in the Netherlands of Adyen, our unicorn payment company. And that's really what you would like to see, is this kind of a flywheel starting to go of people that think big, pay forward, and give back.
Yeah, startups start to provide seed capital to other startups, and then we can all flourish. Yes, fantastic. Very quickly, I know you've been talking to a number of the smartest, brightest, best startups in the Netherlands. Are you allowed to give me even just one name where you are really excited about their prospects? It's an unofficial royal seal of approval, or is that asking too much?
I'm really excited by Remote. It's a company founded in 2019. It's now, I think they have about 1,200 people, and they're valued at 3.5 billion. So a really rapid growth company. With a very impressive entrepreneur. So that would be my, it's not even a tip. I think that most people have seen the tip.
I'm just asking for my guest bookers, so they're going to be the one of the next tech startups that we get on the show. Your Royal Highness, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to continuing the conversation, because it's such a crucial part of helping us generate innovation, technology, and supporting startup growth in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your interest.
Great to chat. Thank you.